talk about the transition from leaving college basketball and moving into the WNBA.
Before Caitlin Clark arrived, Lexie Hull's career was in shambles. A startling new interview shows how Clark's leadership saved Hull and changed the Indiana Fever. What actually transpired behind the scenes, from smashing lows to a spectacular comeback. You won't want to miss the story. Stay tuned to find out what's really happening.
So you have basketball in your genes. Your grandfather played basketball, your dad, and you have a twin sister who you played basketball with growing up. What was it like growing up in that family dynamic?
Well, we have a super competitive family, and having my dad play basketball collegiately, knew that basketball was going to be put in my hands at an early age. But my parents were, super excited about having us try every sport imaginable. So yeah, we grew up.
The professional basketball career of Lexie Hull, she arrived as the 6th overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, with the potential to be a vital member of the Indiana Fever. But her journey swiftly transformed from one of high hopes to one of relevance.
Happened really, really quick. We finish up the Final Four, and then a week later the draft happens, and then a few days after that, packing up my dorm room and moving to the Midwest. So it was a big transition, especially moving someplace that I had.
But that promise was quickly eclipsed by poor play and little playing time, and by the beginning of the 2024 season, Hull was on the verge of disappearing as her playing time decreased, and supporters began to doubt whether she would ever reach her full potential.
Could have been. The basketball part of the transition is really tough. Everybody out on the court was one of the best players on their college teams, definitely the best player, likely from their high school team. So it's just this.
At Stanford, she was a star known for her grit, athleticism, and basketball IQ. She helped her team win a national championship and appeared destined for professional greatness. But the WNBA had higher stakes and fiercer competition. Every player on the court had been the best in their respective programs, and Hull found herself struggling to keep up. The transition from college to the WNBA was much more difficult than she had anticipated. Hull acknowledged in a recent interview that it messes with your head to go from being a key player in college to sitting on the bench watching others take the minutes you worked so hard for. By the time the 2024 season arrived, Hull was on the verge of being called a bust. Her confidence was shaken, and the team wasn't in a better position. They started the season with a dismal 1-18 record. The locker room was tense, criticism of the coaching staff was rampant, and the atmosphere was anything but hopeful. Fans were growing impatient, and the players were too, when Caitlin Clark arrived.
Indiana Fever. I've seen so much growth, not only on the team side, how we're performing on the court, but also the growth in fans. I mean, on the road, it felt like home games. We're playing in sold-out arenas that we have not played in.
One of the most anticipated newcomers in recent memory and a college basketball sensation, noted for her ferocious competition and electrifying PL style, provided the spark that the Fever sorely needed. From the minute Clark joined the team, everything started to change. She wasn't just another player.
Here you got to be on the court with Caitlin Clark, and you also struck up a friendship with her. Can you talk about how important it is to have that camaraderie on and off the court?
I think it was important to get to know her off the court, because I do think that, connections, getting to know people really play a part in the success of teams. And it's really awesome to get to know her as well, because, she's a great person, but you have all these expectations put on her, and our team has put on her, and fans have put on her. So to see her kind of be so mature in that transition, it's been really awesome. And I'm just really proud to, have her on the team. And
in support of Hull, few people anticipated the redemption arc that began with Clark's arrival. Hull had been having trouble figuring out how to contribute effectively and finding her place in the Fever system, but Clark's arrival completely changed that dynamic. Her ability to predict plays and deliver precise passes created opportunities that didn't exist before, and all of a sudden, Hull was in open spaces, receiving passes she didn't believe were possible and being placed in positions to succeed. The change wasn't instantaneous, but it was undeniable that practices became more intense with Clark's competitive fire pushing everyone to up their game. Caitlin changed everything Hull said with her energy, vision, and ability to make everyone around her better. It was contagious. Knowing that every opportunity mattered with Clark on the floor, Hull started to concentrate on honing her cutting and shooting skills. She felt a new sense of purpose and threw herself into the work, believing that her time would come. I believe Caitlin's support was crucial. Hull clarified that she wasn't only concerned with her own performance and that she truly wanted us all to succeed. If I missed a shot, she would reassure me that I would get the next one. This type of support makes a big difference. Beyond the court, Clark's leadership was evident in the locker room, where she managed to restore the team's spirits and create a sense of unity that had been severely lacking. Hull explained how Clark's maturity and positivity fostered an atmosphere where players felt supported despite obstacles. It wasn't just about basketball, Hull said. Caitlin tried to get to know us as individuals, and that connection led to improved chemistry on the court. It was like a domino effect, where when one player stepped up, it encouraged everyone else to do the same. The Fever's offense started to change, and Clark was able to redefine herself as a player. Her shooting percentages improved, her confidence increased, and she began to make a noticeable impact in games. Fans who had previously doubted her started to notice her comeback, but the journey wasn't without its difficulties. Hull acknowledged that the demands of the WNBA and the pressure to perform might be too much for her, and that social media in particular became a double-edged sword, with both compliments and criticism pouring into her feeds after every game. It's difficult to avoid reading the comments. Hull admitted sometimes it's motivating, but other times it gets in your head. That's why having teammates like Caitlin is so important. They keep you grounded. As the season progressed, the Fever began to turn things around. Their improved chemistry and renewed focus on team play translated to better results on the court. Hull became a key contributor, thriving in her role and proving that she belonged in the WNBA. Meanwhile, Clark Star continued to rise, drawing fans to games and generating excitement around the team. For Hull, the 2024 season went from being a nightmare to a story of redemption. She credits much of her turnaround to Clark's leadership and the culture shift she brought to the team. But it wasn't just about what Clark did for Hull, it was about how she changed the entire trajectory of the Indiana Fever. This season taught me a lot about resilience, Hull said. It's not just about talent, it's about staying ready, trusting the process, and leaning on your teammates. I'm grateful for everything Caitlin has brought to this team, not just for me, but for all of us. As the season unfolded, the impact of Caitlin, the fans, and everyone else inside the Fever organization noticed Clark's arrival more. Practices became more competitive, games became more cohesive, and the team's energy changed. The chemistry Clark brought wasn't just contagious, it was transformative for Lexie Hull, and this change served as the foundation for her comeback story. Hull's early season difficulties appeared like a distant past because to Caitlin's accurate passing and capacity to spot possibilities that nobody else could. With each game, Lexie found herself in situations she had never been in before, such as being open for a shot or breaking through the defense to make a play. Hull's confidence increased, and she characterized the change as a total 180, not only for her performance but also for her mindset, adding, "I'd been working hard all along," Hull stated, but it seemed like nothing was making sense. "Caitlin gave me the courage to take those chances and taught me how to trust my gut again." Clark's ability to uplift others around her was just as important as her skill. Her court vision, basketball IQ, and unwavering drive offered opportunities for her teammates to shine. Hull told Caitlin that it's not only about cutting to get open anymore, and that Clark would make her feel like she was always a threat on the floor by delivering passes in impossible scenarios. She sees things before they happen, so every slash serves a purpose. "I've had passes come to me where I wasn't even aware I was open," but this new dynamic helped Hull find her rhythm. By the middle of the season, her shooting percentages had significantly improved, and she established herself as a dependable player in clutch situations for a player who had previously questioned her position in the league. Her comeback was nothing short of spectacular, and fans started to take notice on social media, glowing with admiration for Hull's renewed vitality and self-assurance. But the change went beyond the numbers. Hull highlighted the breadth of Clark's leadership. Beyond assists and standout plays, Caitlin developed into the team's emotional pillar, always willing to support her teammates through trying times, whether it was by encouraging them after a missed shot or pushing them harder during practice. Clark's impact was evident. She is the type of teammate who never lets you give up. As Hull's confidence increased, so did her role within the team. She was no longer only a bench player battling for minutes. Instead, she became a vital member of the Fever's rotation. Hull remarked that if I made a mistake, she would tell me to shake it off because you've got this. It's a simple thing, but it makes a big difference. For the first time in her professional career, the team's play took on a new dimension thanks to her cutting shooting and defensive zeal. Hull believed she was having a significant influence. Not only did Clark have an impact on Hull, but her presence seemed to help the entire Fever roster. Leah Kelsey Mitchell, because of Clark's desire and competitiveness, Boston and the rest of the team started playing with newfound vigor, and practices devolved into arguments as players pushed one another to get better. Even the scrimmages felt like high-stakes contests, Hull said. Caitlin set the tone for all of us, saying that she made it clear that our goal was to win, not just compete. This change in mindset also affected the Fever's fanbase. After years of poor attendance and uninterested support, the team started to attract bigger crowds. Ticket sales skyrocketed, and the atmosphere in the arena became electrifying. It's difficult to express how much it means to have that type of support, but Hull explained how playing in front of a full house provided the team an extra lift during games. Hull added that having the fans behind you motivates you to play even harder. The Fever's resurgence was about rewriting, not just about victories and defeats. The story of the team changed from one of disappointment and frustration to one of hope and potential for Hull. She went from doubting her place in the league to becoming a vital member of a winning team. I don't think I could have survived without Caitlin Hull, who acknowledged that she didn't just save my career, but also reminded me of why I love this game. The relationship between Hull and Clark became one of the most talked about dynamics in the WNBA, with Hull's hard work winning Clark's trust and Clark's passing unlocking Hull's potential. As the season went on, the team gained momentum and climbed out of the league's basement and into playoff contention, defying expectations and demonstrating that their early struggles were not a reflection of their true potential. The pair came to represent the Fever's new identity as a team founded on resilience, unity, and a commitment to excellence. Hull characterized the trip as both difficult and rewarding, highlighting how much the team had improved throughout the season and saying that even in difficult times, we stuck by one another, which was what made the difference off the court. Hull and Clark's relationship grew stronger as they spent time getting to know one another and developing a friendship that lasted. It's easy to get caught up in the strain of the game, but having someone like Caitlin by your side makes it easier to bear the fever, Hull said, attributing this connection to helping her keep grounded and focused during the season's highs and lows. With a youthful core led by Clark Hall and Boston, the team was positioned to be a contender for years to come. The season wasn't only about redemption, it was also about setting the groundwork for future success. Hull was enthusiastic about the future for the squad and herself, saying, "I feel like we're just getting started. There's a lot of promise here, and I'm happy to be a part of it," Hull said. The Indiana Fever had transformed from a struggling franchise to one of the league's most talked about teams by the end of the season. As the fans eagerly anticipate the upcoming season, their expectations are higher than ever. With another year of experience and camaraderie under their belts, fans are eager to see what this team can accomplish. For Hull, the journey has been a testament to hard work, perseverance, and the power of great leadership. Clark's arrival had sparked a transformation that went far beyond the court, and the team's journey from the verge of obscurity to a key contributor became a story of resilience and redemption. I owe a great deal to Caitlin and this team. With Clark leading the charge and Hull playing at the top of her game, Hull said this season demonstrated to me that no matter how difficult things get, there is always a way forward. The Indiana Fever have established themselves as a formidable force. The question now is not whether they can compete, but rather how far they can go. One thing is for sure, though, this team's best is yet to come, and fans are eager to see what happens next.